People don't change bad habits until they have a compelling reason. Too often, that compelling reason is the result of a habit's negative outcome, but the promise of positive rewards resulting from the establishment of good habits can be a strong motivator. In the workplace, aligning responsible information stewardship with personal and professional gain can set the stage for good privacy habits. Let my failure motivate your change. At breakfast on the morning of August 12, 2003, a small and profitable computer company thrived at the foot of the Rocky Mountains. By lunchtime that day, that same business was on its way to ruin. Within 12 months, due to the theft of personal and company information, a 40-year-old family business turned software startup was doomed, and John, heir to the prosperous enterprise, faced the prospect of prison for crimes he didn't commit. Beyond the specter of prison time for John, the situation held dire consequences for his family and friends. There was a real threat that his wife and 2 young daughters might be separated from their husband and father if John went to prison. John's parents, who founded the company in 1964, shouldered most of the financial responsibility for the dying business and experienced declining health from the resulting stress. In the end, the situation would expose a dark secret kept by John's close friend, Doug, a recent partner in the business. It sounds like fiction, and sometimes when I'm recounting the ordeal in front of an audience, it feels like fiction. But it's 100% true. This is the story of how a failure to understand the importance of data privacy not only destroyed a healthy business, but nearly took down an entire family as well. If you haven't already figured it out, I am John Sileo, the business leader whose naive choices brought about this sad saga. Before I experienced it firsthand, I didn't understand that both individual and business data privacy are integral to running a profitable company. What happened to my business, and to me, is more common than you may realize. The statistics throughout this audiobook prove it. The stories I hear from my audiences prove it. But the media headlines continue to ignore it. They minimize massive breaches, such as those that occurred at TJX, Heartland Payment Systems, and the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs with sterile, unemotional language. And they talk about the risk of identity theft. But rarely do these stories assess the true toll of identity theft and put a human face on this crime. Why is the human element missing from these stories? One reason is that victims are often ashamed to openly share their mistakes and failures with the world. Identity theft and its consequences can be humiliating, causing victims to remain quiet. Another reason is that corporations don't want the true emotional cost of information crimes exposed, for fear doing so will awaken a sleeping giant, the complacent public, and you and I might not stand for it any longer. So they call the crime a data breach to make it sound technical, hence impersonal. We stay silent, and the business world makes it about numbers instead of lives. But identity theft, or whatever you choose to call it, is highly personal, incredibly invasive, and deeply violating. There is a great irony underlying the division of this problem between individuals like you and me and businesses that experience data breach, such as Heartland. We are one and the same. The CEO, responsible for the corporation's data at the highest level, has a social security number that is vulnerable to theft. The executive in charge of computer systems that might be hacked and laptops that might be lost has a family whose personal medical records could be on those systems. Every human resources administrator responsible for employee records is also an employee whose private financial information is stored in similar files. Every janitor who disposes of sensitive identity documents in the dumpster has identity documents of his own that could be improperly discarded in the trash. Therein lies the first step in our solution. You must recognize that you could be the victim of this crime just as easily as you could be the source. You are the CEO, the IT manager, the HR administrator, the janitor, the employee, and the individual. Corporate data privacy starts by training a room full of potential identity theft victims. Teach the CEO and the janitor to understand the destructive emotional and financial impact in personal, human terms that relate directly to them